All right. Well, thank you to our volunteer Ian Tan, who put together that fabulous sizzle, splicing all four of the films together. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Michelle Sugihara, Executive Director of CAPE, and we have been championing Asian and Pacific Islander talent in front of and behind the camera for over 30 years. And I'm very, very excited to be here today because it's such a special full circle moment for us. It was 1 year ago at this very summit that we announced this challenge with Julia and Chenyen and Janet. So thank you all for being here today. I'm so excited to introduce you to our talented filmmakers who were selected as this inaugural year awardees. So again, I'm Michelle Sugihara. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm going to pass it on down the line to each of our fabulous filmmakers to give a brief bio.
Hi everyone, my name is Ragini Bhasin. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a filmmaker from India. That's where I was born and raised, and I moved here to study filmmaking in Chapman University. That's where I graduated from. And currently I work for a media company called Ghibli Media, where I make unscripted content, and at the same time, I'm making my films. This film is a very special film because it's a very personal story. It's about a young feisty Indian girl who starts her period, and her relationship with her brothers is tested because she starts it at the festive celebration of Raksha Bandhan, which is a festival when sisters tie a Rakhi to their brothers to celebrate the bond. So I'm really excited about the film and very grateful to Cape and Julia for giving me this opportunity to make this film come alive.
Hi, my name is Soma Helmi. My pronouns are she, her. I am from Indonesia. I'm originally from Bali. I got started in Bali, actually, as a filmmaker, and in Jakarta as well, in advertising. I started my filmmaking journey, like I said, in Bali doing an adaptation of a Balinese fairy tale, and I just fell in love with filmmaking from then. My film is it's a rom-com. It's about an Indonesian woman who hires an escort to take to her cousin's engagement party because she's tired of answering the questions from the aunties about why she's still single. And yeah, that's all about me, but thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a life changer. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Banban Cheng. My pronouns are they, them. I am originally from Houston, Texas, and I grew up in a really tight-knit Chinese, Taiwanese community. So much of my storytelling roots and filmmaking roots come from that community, and growing up listening to stories and hearing aunties and uncles gossip. So my film is called Hearsay, and it's about a Taiwanese hairdresser who loves to talk and gets herself in trouble when she spreads some gossip about a customer.
Hi, I'm Liz Sargent. I'm a Korean-American adoptee. I grew up in a suburb of Chicago, and my parents had 4 kids and adopted 7. 6 of them are Korean. Several of them have disabilities, mental, physical, and this story is about and starring my sister who has an intellectual disability, and it's sort of just capturing this little snippet in time where there's a transfer from the mother passing away to the inheritance of the responsibilities of this sister who can't live on her own. And it's really trying to capture it from her point of view as the person who has the burden, not the able-bodied sister. So, is that?
Can you all share a little just about the process of this challenge and how your script came to be, how you were able to put it together with the resources and the funds from the challenge, and where you see it going from here and helping your career?
Okay. That was a lot. I was thinking, where should I start from? I think one of the biggest challenges, but also the most fun challenge for me was to work with kids, because I just love kids in general. I always joke that I've been wanting to be a mom since I was 1 year old, because I grew up with younger cousins, and I always felt like I'm their mom, and I was just like 3 years older than them. But anyway, I have a very special bond with kids in general, so I really feel a lot for kids and also about the kids' psyche, because I think there are few films that represent kids and what they feel and their challenges and their life story, because it's not easy to be a kid either. There's just so much that you're learning and unlearning and growing and adapting to this world that I feel very passionate about that. So the story is loosely based on my journey of starting my period, where I was like a complete mess and I did not know what it is, and I had a rough idea of what a period is, but experiencing it was so different. So I'm very happy that I could first make this film happen, and I think the film has around 4 kids, and it was just quite challenging because, of course, kids have limited capacity also as to how much they can work, and they just really wanted to play around and have fun more than act. But I think, like, I did not give them the script, or I did not tell them exactly what the story is, but just when they would come on set, tell them exactly what they want to do. So that was a bit challenging because we were just improvising a lot on set. But I think, or I hope it turned out well, or it just turned out watchable. But yeah, that was one of the bigger challenges. And another thing that I noticed when we were color correcting actually was that I thought that I was not too excited about the way the film was lit, but that's also because there's very little brown representation on screen. So when we were color correcting, at times I felt that they looked too light or they looked too dark. And I don't think that's anything to do with the lighting or color correction. It's a lot of Bollywood films or Indian films also that I've watched, they always lighten the skin color. And a lot of Hollywood films where I watch brown people, they darken the skin color. So just finding that balance to make sure that we can represent them the way they actually look was a little challenging, because even I have some preconceived notions because of what I have watched on screen. So I think that was a big challenge for me also, because I was challenging myself as to what I want to see on screen, and that is definitely trying to represent them the way they look, and not trying to lighten or darken their skin color. And that was something that was quite a journey, and I've been trying to grapple with that also, and I think that motivates me more to tell more brown stories and have brown representation on screen, because I really think that there's not enough. And other than that, I think just having the resources, thanks to Janet and Cape and Julia, made it so much easier. We'd gone to a retreat in Ohio where we met some incredible filmmakers and other people from the industry, so getting some insights from them was great. And also the other fellows, just being in it together with them. I also sent my film to Liz, and she gave me some great feedback, so I'm very grateful to her for that. And some of my other friends, and of course, everybody from Cape and Janet, they just gave incredible notes. So I'm so grateful that they were in the process to help this film come alive, and I'm just so excited to screen it and nervous at the same time. But it was a really good journey. There's nothing that I can think of which was like a huge challenge and something we couldn't get past. All the contacts also through Cape were incredible. Damon was the casting director who did such an incredible job. And I was telling, I think Jess about this earlier today, that the lead character was cast last minute because she sent her acting audition when the auditions had ended. But she was just so good, and she just stood out. So I'm glad that it was so collaborative, because had he not sent the last submission at the end, then we wouldn't have cast her, because we wouldn't have seen her audition. But yes, it was a great journey, and I can't wait for all of you to watch the film.
Going in order? Okay. A couple of challenges, obviously, but I think firstly, to talk about the process a little bit, I think at the semi-finals we were asked to make a short film, 1-minute short film, on whatever subject, and I believe we had this lovely 4-word script that basically opened up the world, and I guess maybe we didn't have any limits on what we had to do. And I was in Rome at the time. I was working on a feature when I got the news that I had to make a 1-minute short, so that was challenge number one. I didn't know anybody there, so I had friends of friends who'd never acted, and we had an hour in the park in Rome to make my short film entry. And I was really surprised and pleasantly, surprised to see that it actually went into the finals, so thank you for that. The other challenge was my script I had an all-Indonesian cast, and I had never done that in LA before. And I needed to have, I think in total we had a cast of 7 or 8 people who all had to be Indonesian, and that was our #1 challenge. So we had an incredible casting director recommended by Cape who basically sent it out wide. We had to go to New York and Canada, and we had an incredible turnout of people sending tapes in. And this turned into actually one of the best experiences of the whole thing, because in their tapes, we had asked them to speak a little bit about their experience and what their connection with Indonesia was. And some obviously had moved here when they were young, and some, different levels of connection to Indonesia. Some didn't speak Indonesian, but the thing that really tied everybody together is they all got really emotional in their tapes, saying this was the first time that they had been given sides that had Indonesian language in it. And even just watching these tapes, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional, but we were just watching them getting emotional because this had never happened before. And we were so confused as to why is this the first time that this is happening in the US, where these very seasoned, experienced actors had never seen a script with Indonesian language in it. So I feel really grateful that this became a community building exercise at the same time, because we had Indonesian people reach out from all over the US and North America saying they wanted to come to volunteer to be on this short, they wanted to volunteer to act in it, they just wanted to volunteer to help because they had never had an experience like this. So thank you so much for having, letting that happen. And it's been an incredible experience, and I can't wait for next year's also, but also I can't wait to see everybody's films on Tuesday.
So most of my short takes place in a Chinese hair salon, and I was very naive, thinking that I was going to write a script. It's going to be in one location. There's a lot of actors, but that's okay. It's going to be fine. But it turns out it's really hard to get a Chinatown hair salon because they're always open, because they're always working. So I must have gone to maybe 10 or 15 cold, just went in and said, "Can I please use your hair salon?" And ended up finding one that was being sold. And so they were like, "Oh, that's fine," and bringing in a really talented production designer to help also spruce it up and make it seem more Chinese and all that type of stuff. But the reason why I was able to get that attention is because of Cape, because of the name, and because of the short film challenge. Just even having, they didn't know who Cape or Julia Gouw or what the short film challenge was, but to even say that I was being supported by an organization that was so competitive was people are a little risk averse. They don't always want to offer help, but they see that somebody else has supported you, and suddenly it opens doors for you just because somebody has said, "Oh, I believe in them." So that was a big coup to be able to find this hair salon that generously let us film there for like 3 days. And then the other thing is that my script is fully in Mandarin, and I was a little worried that we wouldn't be able to find talented actors who could speak Mandarin, and I really wanted it. It was really important to me that the film was understood by people like my parents who speak native Taiwanese and Mandarin. But because of Cape, Damien, who you used as well, was a casting director who's incredibly talented and already had a database of filmmakers, not filmmakers, but actors all across the United States who knew how to speak Mandarin or fluent in Mandarin. And so I think we got like 300 submissions, And it's astonishing how many talented people are out there just waiting for an opportunity to be in a well-resourced film. So I felt like there were all these challenges going in, but it felt like because of CAPE and all the support, and because of Janet and Julia, just all the support surrounding us made us feel really validated as we moved forward. So thank you so much.
I agree with everything you said. I think for me, this fellowship was sort of a jumping point. Having these like 3 incredible women and CAPE behind the film really helped me build an audience and a community. Making this short film was a bit of a risk. It's very, very personal to me on so many levels. You know, learning how to work with my sister who has the intellectual disability, who has no short-term memory, and totally just thinks and functions in a different way, building an environment that she could be authentic and be empowered to really act and not, you know, just be repeating lines, was a big challenge. And so this is a short that's a proof of concept for a feature, and it's taught me so much about the treatment that I need to use for the feature. And now I've gone back and I'm adjusting the feature in all these different ways that I think are making it so much more authentic and more original than I could have imagined without being able to have this opportunity to learn for myself. So.
All right. So my last question for you, because 20 minutes just flies by with everything you share is so engaging and engrossing. But my last question for you is, in the spirit of lifting as we climb, and we've all given you this platform and spotlight today, is there someone in the API filmmaking community that you would like to uplift, and someone that we should all have on our radars?
There are so many. But if I have to name one, there's a Lebanese filmmaker named Nadine Lebaki who made this film called Capernaum, which I think was nominated for the Oscars a few years back. And that film is about, I think, a 10-year-old boy who sues his parents for giving birth to him because they can't take care of him. And she also worked with non-actors, and the performance of the kids is incredible. And that film, I remember watching it, and it just moved me so much that I couldn't watch it again because it left such a deep impact. And when I watched the second time, I noticed other things about the film that also left a huge impact. So if that's a filmmaker that you've not watched and is not on your radar, I would highly recommend. I think she made one of the most naturalistic, emotional, yet powerful films that I've ever seen.
And her name, one more time?
Yeah, her name is Nadine Lebaki. She's a Lebanese filmmaker.
I think 2 people, 2 mixed Indonesian writers as well, Alexander Chard and Sam Boyer. Sam is actually on the Nichols list this year, and I believe Janet works with Sam as well. They are so talented and really breaking incredible ground, and I look forward to seeing what they make, but please look out for them because Alex right now is at the Austin Film Festival with his screenplay, and I think we're going to hear a lot more from them in the coming years.
I'm going to recommend somebody who I actually met on the production of Hearsay, and she's a producer named Sheena Alexis Soares, who was my producer. She's also a Filipino filmmaker and a production designer, extremely talented. And she was recently just won Emmy nominations for a series of documentaries about caretakers in the United States. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if I saw her name bubbling up in the next few years. Extremely talented, very passionate, and very generous of spirit.
I just met this incredible writer named Sora Cheng, who works mainly as a translator. He was a trilingual translator for Pachinko, and he's working on K-pop right now. But he's really a writer and a poet, and he's just so incredible and curious and young, and and just totally creative. And I know he's going to be huge soon. So I think he's also someone who just needs the opportunity. His writing is totally mesmerizing and original. And yeah.
All right, well, thank you. So you've all heard from all of these talented filmmakers. You saw the sizzle, so we felt that it's only appropriate for us to invite you all to the screening, because you must all be very excited to see the full films. So we are having a screening Tuesday, November 1st, AMC Theaters in Century City. If you'd like to attend, please go to CAPE's Instagram page. Our handle is @CapeUSA, and the link is in our bio. So please feel free to RSVP there, and we hope to see all of you. Want to again thank Janet and Julia for hatching this idea, bringing it over to CAPE and partnering with us, and very excited. And also, since we announced this last year, it also seems very appropriate to be announcing year 2. So because of the success and the wonderful talent that we were able to find, it has been renewed for year 2, thanks to the continuing support of Julia Gouw. And also, now we have additional support from the Asian Women Leadership and Philanthropy Fund, which you've just heard about. Thank you, Chun Yen. And additionally, from Sarah Choi, Cindy Huang, Louis Yikasi, Priscilla S.Y. Lim, Jean Shim, Monica Surya Pranatha, and Tony Wong, who's sitting right here. So thank you, everybody. Please be on the lookout again for year 2, and we hope to see you on Tuesday.